a streak of gray and a cheerful... A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again, you know it's time for the...
There's not a whole lot
Rocky
better
and
than
Friends.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Starring that supersonic
Plus the
speedster,
wonderful
Rocket
sub-cartoons
Kayshon,
within
with
the
his
Rocky
fellow
and
Bullwinkle
Bullwinkle
the
cartoon.
Moose,
Go,
and a
go,
host of others.
Gophers, and kind of other good stuff.
Hurry, Bullwinkle!
Sherman the dog.
The show's about
He
to
was very
start.
intelligent.
I'm coming as fast as I can.
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Thank you, Mr. Drew Brees. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. Like the station down the dial that used to pay Drew Brees a salary every year to come on the radio via the phone line for about 2 minutes once a week and say things like his favorite color and stuff. I like a 2.5-inch long sweatband more than the 2-inch. Things of that nature. Real deep, insightful stuff. It wasn't a softball interview every week or nothing. Anyway, we do the same thing. We pay Drew Brees. Even though that sounds recorded, it is actually Drew Brees, and we pay a bunch of other former Saints. They go down to his house in La Jolla, the $8 million compound. They get in a huddle. They get fired up for about 5 good minutes. We pay them serious cash. And then Joe dials them up, and we have a live link, and we actually pay a girl who stands there and just drops her hand and points a finger at them. And then they go, "This is New Orleans," woof, 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 and that's it. And then they're done for the day. It takes up about 80% of our payroll. Anyway, that is live every day with Drew Brees. That is not recorded. That is live. And that is 110% a fabrication on my part. It is definitely recorded. It is a rainy Thursday afternoon. All good. All good, though. Rainy Thursday afternoon in the Crescent City. Yep. Sit back and drink your milk. Take in your milk. Got a buddy of mine, Dane. He's 3 years old. He drives a car better than most of you. He's chugging down some milk about right now. It's that time of the day. Uh-oh. What's that? Uh-oh. Don't be pushing those buttons, boy. A rainy Thursday. Boy, you could see the if you were watching the radar, just drops her hand and points a finger at them. Wow. And then they go, "This is New Orleans." Woof, 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 and that's it. Wow. And then they're done. Wow. Thank you, Joe. Anyway, if you were checking out the radar, some bands rolling through the metro area like 2 times earlier today and just a little while ago. Kind of a rainy Thursday. So it's already 4 o'clock. But if you can kind of change your, time you go home, stay around the office a little later, go down and have a bite to eat at, some restaurant near the office, that kind of gimmick, do that. Spread it out a little bit so we don't put a lot of folks, or I should say the same amount of folks on the road, but when it's raining and wet. Because when it's raining and wet, I don't know, folks go beyond driving defensively. I don't know what they're doing. Very, very painful sometimes to drive in the city, just generally speaking. It can be brutally painful when it's raining. But I stress, number one thing, be careful out there. Be careful. New England Patriots wide receiver, former LSU Tiger, Kayshon Boutte, arrested for allegedly betting on games while at LSU, betting on himself, pulling a Pete Rose. Improper conduct related to sports gambling. There have been about 150 or so arrests, NCAA-related information passed on to the feds. Laws broken, not NCAA rules broken. Wasn't broken because of an NCAA rule, broken because he broke the law. The convention center may move ahead on that 1,000-plus room hotel after all. Maybe. Typical NOLA, lots of hurdles and obstacles. And obstacles heading down the maze. You're in trouble, Joe. obstacles and hurdles. It's now like a $600 million hotel. $600 million hotel. Like $600,000 a room. I remember just a few short years ago, some like hotel, one of those like box hotels, like the Gonzales exit on I-10. There's about a dozen of them. 4 to 6 stories tall. I don't know how many rooms. They got 50 to 100 rooms, maybe more. On Bullard and I-10, there are 2 of them, 6, 8 stories tall. Those types of hotels is sort of your average hotel. It's not a, Hotel 6, like a motel kind of thing, like, bottom of the line. And it's not some, city, North American city downtown hotel that's sort of middle of the line. I guess they're just sort of average hotel rooms. I'm telling you, like a decade or so ago, those were like under $100,000 each to build. I think like the Ritz-Carlton, which went bankrupt a few times. It was an old building. They kept running into problems. I can go on and on and on. It was like $350,000 a room. It was just way over cost. $600,000 a room like a decade ago was not like 4-star. It was super duper 5-star. Wasn't just marginal 5-star. It was super duper 5-star, insane resort, off the chart, high end. Now I guess it just, everything's more expensive. But boy, construction, ridiculously more expensive. $600 million. They mentioned in an article, I forget where I read it, a reputable source, Fox 8, Channel 4 website, NOLA.com, a reputable source, a reputable writer. The Congress Center in Atlanta, their convention center, they just built a hotel. It's sort of if you have a convention center in a major North American city, there has to be 1,000+ room hotel hooked to that convention center, besides all the other hotels. They just finished some hotel, a Hilton, high-end Hilton branded hotel. And I believe it was, I don't think it was 1,000 rooms. Maybe it was. Maybe it was 1,000 rooms or 1,200 rooms. But I know the price tag was like $500 million. And that one's already finished. Haven't even broken ground on the one in New Orleans. So they probably broke ground on the one in Atlanta 2 or 3 years ago. And at the end, it was $500,000. So it's like, if that hotel's $600 million, the $1 billion River District neighborhood is like $1.5 billion. It'll be $2 billion by the time they're done with all the things they want to do. Yeah, just getting a email. I'm a banker, financial guy. It's from the North Shore. Finance construction of a 75-room Best Western Plus. About $75,000 a room. No, that's what those, that was the price like a decade ago, I thought, like I said, under $100,000 a room. But $600,000 a room just makes it seems almost prohibitive to build the hotel. Crazy. Anyway, it appears they're moving ahead. Maybe, who knows? City of New Orleans got to jump through lots of hoops. Wow. Terrible tasting Bud Light is rebounding. I have a friend, Joe. He can knock back like a case of beer, and then he could take one of those, get in a crane, crane operator thing, the heavy ball, and put it through a window of a building and not knock out any of the building, like sober almost after like a case of beer. He's a big dude. Alcohol just doesn't seem to affect him too much. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, I asked him about terrible tasting Bud Light because it's rebounding. Bud Light's coming back. And it's just awful. Outside of America, I mean, the rest of the world that drinks beer laughs at us with the light beer and the Bud Light especially. It's like Coors Light, I swear, is 9 ounces of water, and then they just put 3 ounces of regular Coors in it. Shake it up. It's a Coors Light. It's a silver bullet. Anyway, Bud Light's got a Super Bowl ad 2 weeks from Sunday. terrible tasting Bud Light is rebounding. It'll probably be the number one beer in America again. My buddy says you can knock back Bud Light like you're drinking water. He says it goes down easier than water. I could drink 24 Bud Lights over 24 glasses of water. I was like, I don't want to put 24 glasses of water in me in like the amount of time you drank the Bud Light. By the way, if you need a crane operator, my buddy on 2 cases of beer can handle the job for you. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday. Yeah, you're right. There's a little basketball game tonight on ESPN. I'll fill you in on a minute. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NolaAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Yeah, you, right. Corey Johnson back at you on a wet and rainy Thursday afternoon. Hey, guys, in 20 days, 3 weeks from yesterday, Valentine's Day. Don't blow it. Are you kidding me? Don't blow it. Don't make a mistake. Get her what she wants, a day of relaxation, one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Step up, guys. And what's great about the Woodhouse, you can get a gift card, any denomination, any amount of money you want to spend. I recommend that full-blown day of relaxation at the Woodhouse. That's what I recommend for her. The full-blown day of relaxation at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. I'm going to throw out some gift cards. I've got a few right here, $50 each. The Plaza Tower building, Joe Yeager's building with the big netting on the top, the 44-story abandoned building on Howard Avenue at Loyola with all the problems. The top few floors of that office building when it opened in the late 60s. What made it unique? What was unique about the top few floors, top 2 or 3 floors of that office tower, the old Plaza Tower? Give me the answer to that. I've got $50 for you at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. Rouse's Markets phone lines to dial us up, 766-9480. 766-9480. The old New Orleans Center Shopping Mall. I used to work in the old, what was it, Dominion Tower, CNG Tower, which is now Benson Tower. One of the last office buildings to be built in the city. Sadly, like 30 years ago, I think they cut the ribbon on that in 1990. I was still at LSU. That sort of anchored the New Orleans Center. It was a DeBartolo build, just really first class, very well done. And I remember post-Katrina when the windows were blown out from the storm, DeBartolo replaced them, and on the glass you could see like, I forget what it was, but like etching and verbiage from some other building, some other mall, like St. Louis or something like that. You could see it where he literally had replaced windows in another mall that had an etching on the window. And he's like, man, we got to get rid of the etching. We're going to redo the whole facade of this mall. And instead of throwing away all this glass, it was probably some big, thick, bad, what glass. DeBartolo or his team said, go stack that in some warehouse. And then when the windows got blown out at the very first class New Orleans Center, it was a well-built mall. It never worked completely. It was never all sold out. But I remember after the storm, they had those glass put in to replace the windows. And it was obviously temporary, but it had these weird etchings and obviously used glass. I also remember you'd be going to like a Saints game, walking through there. There were literally some boarded up parts, like it wasn't even built out yet. And they'd have like jazz grates, a little photo of a jazz grate. And they were trying to, no pun intended, jazz it up a little bit because those were spaces that weren't rented out in the mall. That mall never had 100% occupancy ever. Anyway, it was very first class. It was well built. It was right in between the Hyatt Regency and the Superdome. The middle of that mall was blown out. It's now Champion Square, which I thought that was kind of crazy. I would have kept the mall building because it was so well built and first class. And I would have put Champion Square in between that and the Dome, where the ramps are and some of the parking garage is at the Dome. But hey, to each his own. I'm not Tom Benson. I'm not Gail Benson. I'm worth $5, not $5 billion. Anyway, I digress. That shopping mall, the old New Orleans Center, it had 2 major anchor tenants, a couple of major, known department stores. Name those 2 anchor tenants, and I've got $50 for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. If you can come up with a year, fantastic. I'm just looking for the decade. Which decade did Lincoln Beach close? Which decade did Pontchartrain Beach close? Give me the answer to any of those 4 questions. I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse locations. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? About 4:25 on a Thursday. We're heading to the weekend. The work day is winding down. Man, for some folks, depending on how early they get to work, their day may end at 1, 2, 3 o'clock. If you ever get into Katie's in the middle of the day for lunch, like a late lunch, early dinner, so many New Orleans characters sitting at the bar, chatting it up, just hysterical stuff. You will laugh. You can just plop down and, be like a bird on a wire, just eavesdropping into these conversations. And it's not like you're eavesdropping. You don't have to tilt your head or aim your ear in their direction. Some yatty New Orleanians, the volume level coming out of them is just fine. You can hear them. But some of the, they want you to hear them. They want you to hear them. Some of the stories, some of the characters. Plus, it's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Old school. Big portions, great for sharing. From po' boys to pizza, New Orleans seafood. It's Scott Craig, owner, operator, head chef. More is better, more of the good things, including more flat screen TVs. As New Orleans as it gets, Katie's in Mid-City. Yeah, speaking of flat screen TVs, ESPN tonight. Nationwide television audience, 7 o'clock tip-off. This is huge. Number 1, South Carolina. Dawn Staley's Gamecocks are 17-0. Number 9, LSU. Kim Mulkey's Tigers are 18-2. It is an SEC National Women's Hoops Showdown. Sold out Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Sports Center or whatever they do it. Game day, they're up there. Gamecocks by 7.5. Kim Mulkey's going to use that on the blackboard, huh? A national title game type of matchup tonight on ESPN. Going to be a huge audience. You remember last time LSU women's hoops topped Major League Baseball. Let's head to the phone lines. The Rouse's Markets phone lines. 504-766-9480. That's how you dial us up. 766-9480. CJ joins us via the cellular device. CJ, who was CJ on a TV show? Was that, what's her name on Baywatch?
I don't know about that one. Maybe
what wasn't Pamela Anderson CJ on Baywatch?
You know what? You got me on that one, Corey.
Not that I watched a lot of Baywatch, CJ. I watched like 3 episodes. I was like, I like the red bathing suits. These girls look good.
Yeah.
And that was about it. And then, it's like this thing just loops. Some kids struggling. They run out with that red tube thing. They pull them in and it's over with.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't know the answer to your question. I didn't watch it either.
Did you ever think about suing the Chrysler Jeep Corporation for the Jeep CJ?
You're giving me an idea. I don't know.
Don't accept the check till you check with me, CJ. I'll get it done for you, but I'm going to take about 40%.
Oh, I'll give you a cut. That's no problem.
Oh, no, 40%'s my cut. I'm taking more than a third these days.
I got you.
Now, CJ, I know your neck and back's not really hurt, but, it's just your word against the doctor. So wink, wink, let's get it done.
Yeah. I thought I would try a shot at one of your trivia questions.
You're sure you want to speak with that asbestos problem you got going?
I don't know. I may have to handle that too, along with my 18-wheeler wreck.
Exactly, 18-wheeler. Plus, you spent time at Camp Lejeune, CJ. You were drinking the water at Camp Lejeune, dude. Wow.
Oh.
Welcome to the United States of America. We can get you money.
Yep. All these the stage 18-wheeler accidents.
Yep. Wow. That was unbelievable. That's why I like when the streetcar hits a car and there's like 4 people on the streetcar, and then 20 minutes later there are people hanging out the windows of the streetcar. Yeah, people get out here, Jimmy. Get everybody out of the den, load up the car, get on the streetcar, and just hold your neck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, CJ, to answer your question, yes, I'll be your attorney, even though I don't have a law degree.
All righty. Well, maybe we can work something out. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, hey, you were calling me for something.
Yeah, I was giving you I just wanted to try your trivia question about the Benson Tower over the 2 anchors. Well, not Benson. It wasn't. It was the what was it? Old Dominion?
Yeah. Old Dominion C&G at one time. Consolidated Natural Gas, I think, was the company.
Yeah.
What were the 2 anchors at the old New Orleans Center, CJ?
From what I remember, it was Lord and Taylor and Macy's.
Lord and Taylor and Macy's. You are correct.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Don't go anywhere, CJ. He's correct, Joe. You are correct. No, I'm not playing the sounder. CJ, hang on. Don't go anywhere. Joe's going to get some info from you. Hey, when we come back, Ed Michelle, Inspector General, City of New Orleans, joins us.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Boy, if you head into any of the 60-plus Rouse's locations right now, the sense of Mardi Gras smells like Mardi Gras, smells like king cake. That cinnamon dough, decades-old recipe, baking them up fresh at each and every Rouse's, those wonderful Rouse's king cakes. I'm old school. I like the cinnamon dough with the icing, that's it. But they've got about 20 cream-filled, 20 different plus flavors of Rouse's king cakes, and they'll ship them to friends and family around the country that are no longer in New Orleans, no longer in Louisiana. Best quality, best price, best selection. It's Mardi Gras season. No one sells more king cakes in the world, year in, year out, than Rouse's Markets. Go to Rouse's.com to ship family and friends those Rouse's king cakes. Any flavor. Rouse's.com. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like you walk in there and that cinnamon dough and the Rouse's is incredible. I love that Rouse's sells king cake by the slice. I take advantage of that. Rouse's Markets phone lines, by the way, to participate in the program, 766-9480. New Orleans Inspector General Ed Michel joins us live on the program again. Ed, how are you? I think we got you now.
Hey, Corey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to have you on again. Thanks so much. Hey, let's jump right into it. Hey, real quick, a few weeks ago, it was a couple of $100,000 plus of property taxes owed to the city of New Orleans. What's that all about?
Well, we initiated our homestead exemption fraud case here in the office about 2 years ago. It all started when we got a couple of complaints on our hotline. And if your callers ever have any complaints that they want to call into us, they can give us the information anonymously at www.nolaoig.gov. We got a couple of complaints on our hotline that several properties were benefiting from a homestead exemption, despite the owners being deceased for, in some cases, 15 years.
Wow.
We conducted a follow-up investigation and indeed did find out that these individuals were deceased, but the properties were still enjoying a homestead exemption, and conducted the necessary investigation and provided that information to the assessor's office, who ultimately conducted the reassessment on these properties, which netted the city about $47,000 just on those 3 properties. And since then, we've uncovered another approximately 200 properties. So those properties are going to get reassessed, and we're anticipating hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, that are going to be put back into the city coffers through the proper reassessment of these properties.
That's amazing. And Ed, it seems like maybe the 200 or so, just scratching the surface.
Well, we don't know yet, but we believe that there are probably more out there for sure.
New Orleans Inspector General Ed Michel is with us. Overtime pay, the calculations, honest mistake from the city, raising your eyebrow where maybe you need to get law enforcement involved. What about that one?
Well, we did a review of the cooperative endeavor agreement with the sheriff and city for the pay, and we found that there were several instances where the sheriff potentially violated the Fair Labor Standards Act when it came to paying the deputies last year for Mardi Gras, as well as, of course, as you know, the rental of hotel rooms. About 91 hotel rooms, room nights were rented, and I think only about 37 of those were used.
Wow.
And, the city has very limited resources, Corey, and we just can't, use those resources in an inefficient or an ineffective manner. And so renting hotel rooms and paying employees more than what they're supposed to be paid, we just can't do that.
Ed Michelle's with us for a few minutes. New Orleans Inspector General, NOLA.oig.gov. If you want to report something, what would be an example? Ed, a lot of the time, you guys, and we're about to talk about Wisner Trust, you guys get tips from the public, kind of like Raphael Goyeneche with the Metropolitan Crime Commission. What kind of tips would you get, like just hypothetical, for example? Like, what are you looking for from the public?
Well, we're looking for any information that the public may have involving any potential fraud, waste, abuse, or corruption of any city employee, any instances where a city employee may be using his or her public office for personal gain. And in this instance, what we're going to talk about today is our investigation of CEO and their inability to provide services and the city's failure to verify those services before they actually paid them before the services were even completed.
Now, you're talking about this Wisner Trust Fund thing?
Yes. So this investigation was predicated on information that we received from, again, an anonymous complaint.
Yep.
And the complainant alleged that the Wisner Trust funds were being mismanaged by the city of New Orleans through a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Center for Employment Opportunities, also known as CEO for Grass Cutting, Lot Maintenance, and Reentry Workforce Training Program. The complaint had a concern that the city would not be able to spend the entire $1 million and that the money not spent would not be properly accounted for. And that complaint was valid and it was verified by us.
Now, what was the complaint again?
So in accordance with the terms of the cooperative endeavor agreement, the city had a $1 million 1-year contract that CEO Services would cut, vacant lots and help with a workforce redevelopment program. We started conducting interviews of city employees involved with this program, and we discovered that the cooperative endeavor agreement required this company to submit photographic evidence of all work performed through the city's land management software. It's also known as LLAMA. We conducted a review of LLAMA as well as BRASS for records regarding invoices paid by the city in coordination with the cooperative endeavor agreement. What we discovered is that the software system utilized was unable to possess some of the characteristics to actually show that the grass work was actually done and that the photos were conducted in accordance with the CEA. And actually, a review of the data by us showed very few instances of work being completed by the company prior to the agreement with the city, thus necessitating us to take a further review of the program itself.
And it wasn't a problem with the Wisner Fund like before, the money inappropriately coming from the Wisner Fund, like that nonprofit situation with the mayor's office. The Wisner Fund money isn't the problem. It's the way it was, I guess, allotted
and it was the way that the money was distributed, and the failure of the company to actually perform the services properly and have proof
that they did
of the services that were completed and the city had made the payments. So the company itself, CEO, was unable to account for services that they performed and charged and received approximately $30,000 from the city for. So we were actually able to question that and challenge it, and we were actually able to confirm that on July 18th of 2023, the city was able to actually recover that money. And in addition to that, the city also was able to rescind another $250,000 payment to the company, and more importantly for us, the $1 million contract was also not renewed going forward.
Ed, when something like this pops up, are you concerned about criminal activity, or is this just mistakes and people not following procedure?
Well, we have a multitude of options that we call upon to determine whether or not this is a strictly administrative or criminal. And just because this report is over with, it doesn't mean that we're not looking at other options, but we will use civil, administrative, and criminal remedies when and where we find fraud, waste, and abuse to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. In this case, we were able to have the city rescind the $250,000 payment because, initially the cooperative endeavor agreement did not authorize the city's quarterly payments in the amount of $250,000 to this company. The cooperative endeavor agreement specified that on the 10th day of every month, this company would submit an invoice to the city for the work performed, and then the city would make a monthly payment. However, the city paid, we were able to determine the city paid 2 quarterly installments to CEO, totaling about $500,000 without the proper verification for the work performed prior to those payments being made. And so this was a good example of us stepping in, identifying what the potential violations were, and I can talk to you about what those violations were if you're interested in them.
Yeah, what were the violations?
So there's a couple of violations here. One was the potential violation of the Louisiana Constitution. Article 7 of the Constitution states that it shall be prohibited to donate public funds, stating that, except as otherwise provided, the funds, credit, or property or things of value by any political subdivision shall not be loaned, pledged, or donated to any person, corporation, public, or private. And in this case, the city was given several hundreds of thousands of dollars over before any of the work was actually done.
Wow.
We also found that the Attorney General uses the Cabela's test, which requires 3 elements before an expenditure or transfer of public funds can be met. And those are that the expenditure or the transfer of the property must be for a public purpose, and that the expenditure or transfer does not appear to be gratuitous in nature. And lastly, the evidence must demonstrate that the public entity has a reasonable expectation of receiving a benefit of value, at least equivalent to the amount expended or transferred. And we found that, and we recommended in this case, that the city should implement a review process to ensure that expenditures incurred going forward are permissible under the Constitution, and that the review processes should verify, of course, that the invoices meet the Attorney General's guidelines, and that they should verify that the payments for work performed are compliant with the terms of the CEA to ensure that this doesn't happen again in the future.
Any final thoughts till we visit next time? Anything we could expect coming out of the office soon?
Well, we are working on several reports. We have a city fuel dispensing report that's going to be coming out soon.
Nice.
The city spends upwards of $1 million a year on fuel, and if you follow us, just look at our monthly report at nolaoig.gov. We have several ongoing initiatives. We'll have another report about the Sewage and Water Board, as well as an audit of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office payroll dispensing process, which will be released sometime in the near future.
Fantastic. NOLA.oig.gov. Ed Michelle, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it.
That's Ed Michelle, New Orleans Inspector General Corey Johnson with you, coming right back.
Trucks. We do all makes and models, and it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread. Thursday afternoon, Corey Johnson with you. Love getting New Orleans Inspector General Ed Michelle on the program. Yeah, love getting him on the program. Dane, come on over in this direction. Come on over. Joe brought his boy into the studio today. He's 3. Joe has him holding a can of gas in one hand and those matches that you can like strike on any surface and they light in the other. He's got a whole box of those. Just doesn't seem like the best thing. I also question Joe's judgment. I'm like in the parking lot at work and I see Joe pulling up and Joe's waving to me from the passenger seat and 3-year-old Dane parks the car. He's like, want the boy to learn early. I was like, I just don't know if that's a good idea, Joe. He's 3.
I've been drinking. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, he did park it between the 2 yellow lines. It was pretty amazing.
That's my boy.
Yes, that's Joe Cardosi right there for you. Joe, by the way, brought to you by the Distillery Company of Kenner. All right, now back to reality. Is that Jeff Dorsett on the line? Now we're getting somewhere. He's with the Humane Society of Louisiana. Their website, humanela.org. humanela.org. They need you to donate because all they do all the time, 24/7, 365 is save animals, doing the dirty work that we apparently don't want to mess with. Jeff, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, Corey. Good. Different day, different animal problem. So it's challenging to be in this industry because virtually every animal that we seem to use, we end up abusing at some point. So we'll talk about rabbits in a minute. If anything else you want to add before asking me what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's always something, and it's always human beings being selfish, oblivious, just not thinking. It's never the pet. It's never the animal's fault. It's always human beings. And in Louisiana, we drop the ball a lot. We don't seem to think it's important. It's something we overlook. We hope that the Jeff Dorsons of the world will pick up the slack for us and can't get it done without everybody pitching in. And it's a major problem. Louisiana doesn't do a very good job compared to the rest of the country, other states, when it comes to animal welfare and shelters. And that just doesn't put a good spotlight on us. The rest of the country kind of thinks Louisiana's kind of backwards ass because of that. Throw in dog fighting and cockfighting, and it's like we're living in another century down here. So, yeah, a lot of work to be done, to say the least.
Yeah, and this week, a new problem was highlighted that I knew it was a problem, but the extent I didn't know. We have some friends with a small rabbit rescue group from South Mississippi called Lola and Friends Rabbit Rescue of South Mississippi. Husband and wife team, big as hearts. You know what they do in their spare time? They come from Mississippi to clean up our problems in our city parks. They have rescued over 60 rabbits and from a few parks over the last 4 months because people don't want to be bothered. They get them as a present or as a pet. The novelty wears off. They don't want to give them to the shelter or rehome them. They just open up the car door and let the rabbit out at City Park or Lafreniere or Kenner. And the rabbits can't survive in the wild, gang. They're domestic. They rely on us for food, water, shelter, medicine, companionship. They have none of that. They're terrified. They're scared. They don't know where to go. They get hit by cars.
They get eaten by coyotes.
Yeah, it's a complete fiasco.
No, it is. They should just ban rabbit sales at Easter. It's a joke. I don't understand. You know, I love America and I love America freedom, and I understand pet ownership, and it doesn't need to be restricted to cats and dogs. I was reading about Nudie the Nutria. It's a great little story, but it's got to be like the people with Nudie the Nutria, where like wildlife and fisheries is involved, and they realize that nutria is not going to spread disease where it goes at the seafood restaurant or out in public. So exotic pets, I guess it's different, situations, different pets, different people. But my God, at least there needs to be vetting, and there needs to be some kind of responsibility involved. And even an animal as simple as like a bunny rabbit, it's just a dopey, it's America, man. We like things, quick and easy, styrofoam, plastic, microwave, heat it up quick. We want, hey, it's Easter, I'm going to give the kid a bunny rabbit. And then in a week, going to dump the bunny rabbit off at the park. No, it's just, it's not very adult thinking. It's no thinking at all, actually, Jeff.
Well, you summed it up really well. Just the spontaneousness of our lives and there's a carelessness. We don't think it out. We don't care if anything is injured or hurt or harmed from our actions, and they are. So please avoid giving live animals as gifts or raffling them off or buying them at the pet store without having the time and resources to doing it right. They'll have a terrible ending. You won't suffer, but the animal likely will. So just don't even go there. Buy a stuffed animal or a box of chocolate, something that's just as nice that won't be harmed.
Yeah, no, exactly. With pet ownership, there is a responsibility involved.
And we have another problem in Marksville of Wills Parish. We're about to unload on the judge up there. We spent an enormous amount of time, not just us, but the witness saw on their surveillance. First of all, let's back up. Back in October, they found a nice husband and wife found a puppy in their parking lot of their business. Couldn't understand how it got there. They looked at their security camera.
Hey, Jeff, that's Blue Boy. Can I call you back on the other side of the hour to get the rest of this story?
You sure can. I'll wait.
No, yeah, I'll call you back. You don't have to wait. We'll call you back in a few minutes. That's Jeff Dorson, humanela.org. Donate right now. humanela.org. Coming right back.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Stella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help.
Such a beautiful song, and when you listen to the lyrics, it makes your heart swell. Too bad we're not going to play Cheers. The hell with that. No, you don't want to go where everybody knows your name. That's called Uptown New Orleans. You want to go somewhere where they don't know your name already.
You want to be where you can see troubles are all the same.
Where's Drew Brees, please? Number 9, we need you. There she blows. Thank you, Drew Brees. Drew Brees. Drew Brees. Corey Johnson back at you on a Thursday. The 5 o'clock Power Hour coming your way. 5 o'clock Power Hour brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Makers of that wonderful Leidenheimer French bread that we eat each and every week, huh? Might be enjoying it on a real New Orleans po' boy. You might be at one of the city's finest restaurants, that piping hot Leidenheimer French bread, so tough to beat. Maybe you're picking up a loaf at your local grocery store like Rouse's. They've only been baking that French bread in the city of New Orleans since 1896. I'm not kidding you. 1896, 5 generations, family owned and operated, New Orleans strong, over 125 years. Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. Hey, Jeff Dorson sticking around for a couple of more minutes. He's with the Humane Society of Louisiana. He had a story to tell, and I know it's of vital importance because it's about saving animals, having animals not be treated poorly, treating them humanely. What was your story, Jeff?
Well, we're having a crisis of people abandoning their animals right and left every single day somewhere around the state. Lots of people are doing that. We don't quite know why. There are not enough shelters, inflation, they can't be bothered. So it's hard to get a conviction. You need witnesses, surveillance camera. Well, we had a suspect on surveillance pulling up in the parking lot of a business in Marksville last October, gets out of the vehicle, goes to the back, opens up a dog carrier, puts the puppy on the pavement, and drives away. Surveillance cameras given to the police. Marksville identifies the suspect. He's arrested, goes to city court. He pleads guilty to his arraignment. He could have been sentenced to up to 6 months in jail, fined $1,000, court costs, probation, any other type of fine. Guess what the judge, Angelo Piazza, decided to do?
What did he do?
Nothing. Absolutely accepted the guilty plea and told him don't do it again. And he walked out without paying a single penny for the puppy that was abandoned and left to die.
See, that's a judge. A judge is supposed to have empathy, understanding of all sides, do what's best for society. And I don't know if you jail the guy or not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You definitely fine the guy. And I would consider a day or two in jail or some type of community service where he's got on an orange vest and a stick with a nail sticking out the end, picking up trash on the neutral ground. So it is a deterrent where people in Marksville go, you better not do what Jimmy did because you'll go to jail for a few days and you're getting fined $500 and you got to do 30 hours of picking up trash on the highway. No, that judge dropped the ball.
Correct. One would think. So our temperature is at a boil. We paid for the wellness. There's no restitution, of course. There's nothing. So we're going to communicate to the judge our concern. We talked to the city attorney, let them know why didn't they intervene. If they say they care, they could have objected. They said it happened so quickly. They didn't have time. Okay, I'll give them a pass. I won't give a pass to Angela Piazza. He's going to hear from us and everybody around the nation. We're going to do a press release, possibly a protest in front of this courthouse for all the reasons you said. If you don't uphold standards for your community, then nobody will.
No, the judge basically said, there's crime going on in the world that's real, and this dropping some little puppy off in a parking lot, I don't really have time for this in my court. And you coming down here and being arrested is enough of a penalty for you. And that's just a major. I don't know what other message the judge sent by doing nothing.
So it's up to us. Either we can accept that or fight it. We're going to choose to fight it. So you'll be hearing about this, hopefully on social media, in the traditional press, all over in just about a week or less. We have that right, and we're going to exercise it.
Hey, Jeff, what happened with the Jonesville or Jonesboro dog in that situation?
Well, help me out. Which one's that? Oh, yes, that one was complicated. Dog in a dilapidated, horrible little. The shelter was dilapidated. The area was full of debris.
Two dogs, right? Just in a barren yard in the rain and the cold.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we called the cops 5 times, argued with them, seized it. You have enough probable cause. They said the shelter was adequate. We go round and round about that issue. So luckily on day 5, the neighbor said the dog had been removed. We don't know where. Couldn't have been any worse. So we can only hope for the better. We don't know what happened to the dog.
Yeah, well, I hope we didn't kill the dog, though. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Hey, how can folks donate? HumaneLA.org?
Please chip in. Yep. The new year, people forget to give, and already we can see a dip in donations. HumaneLA.org. See what we're doing on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're busy. We want to get it done, and we can do more with your help. And next week, we'll talk about upcoming legislative session. We've been busy behind the scenes. Lots to talk about.
Jeff, always a pleasure, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Bye, Corey.
That's Jeff Dorson, HumaneLA.org. If you go to their Facebook page, Humane Society of Louisiana on Facebook, they update it all the time with pictures and telling you what it's all about. You will donate. You will donate. Otherwise, you don't have a heart or a conscience. We suck at this in Louisiana. Jeff tries to pick up the ball as best he can and run with it. He deserves our respect. He deserves a donation from all of us. HumaneLA.org. Go to the website right now. Donate $10, $20, $50, $100. HumaneLA.org. A rainy Thursday afternoon. Corey Johnson with you. Joe's at the controls. He brought his 3-year-old son in with him, who, by the way, speaks 4 different languages at age 3. It's pretty amazing. Joe has trouble with English, especially when he's knocked back half a handle of vodka. The old handle. The half gallon, not the 5th. Because Joe says he gets a few extra drinks for the buck at the end. Anyway, Thursday afternoon edition of the program. He's still running the controls, still fielding your phone calls. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480, 766-9480. We got the Lord and Taylor Macy's answer, Joe. Which 2 major retailers anchored the old New Orleans Center, which is now the Champion Square by the Dome? It was a Macy's and a Lord and Taylor. I forget who picked that up. Who was that, Joe, that won that last hour? CJ, of course. How could I forget? We were talking lawsuits and the like with CJ. Uh-oh, here comes 3-year-old Dane, Joe's son. He brought him into the studio, which is dangerous. Joe, union rules say you can't bring your son to work. We're going to dock you some pay. And also, the union rep is coming down, and we're going to get you in front of the little tribunal and see what's up, okay?
I was just trying to get him out of the coal mine. Anything to get him out of the coal mine.
Hey, man, but how are we supposed to produce electricity unless your 3-year-old boy is chipping away at coal? And he was only working 15, 16 hours a day. What are you complaining about?
Slacking. Really.
Yep. Oh, boy. That I love that. I'm watching Blazing Saddles, and I recorded, like, with my phone a few clips off the TV. I'm like, going to post this on Twitter. And then I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not going to post this on Twitter. But like the railroad workers just like feigning in the heat, acts like it's 120 degrees out here. Can't be more than 114. Just no sympathy at all. The opposite. Just making fun of every single group possible. Every sex, creed, race, religion. Mel Brooks destroyed them all in Blazing Saddles. They wouldn't even allow that today. There's something wrong with that. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? And he said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you, right? Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Hey, coming up, Tiger fans and basketball fans. I mean, this is bigger than LSU. This is really big. And I'm serious when I say this. You think about Nick Saban, you think about Bill Belichick, just these hardcore, cutthroat competitors. I mean, neither one has any kind of personality. Neither one's affable. You probably wouldn't want to be sitting next to either one on like a 6-hour flight somewhere, like to Europe. Wow, I sat next to Nick Saban. I sat next to Bill Belichick. They're just not conversationalists. They're not affable. I don't think they're really people person. Like, what do you mean, Corey? They work with players. They build men. They coach men. Yeah, I don't think they're people persons or people. I just, that they're, in almost a way, I'm not trying to be a jerk or diminish what they've accomplished, but almost in a way, it's like, you better be successful. Your whole life is football. I mean, you have blinders on. That's why you're not affable and you're not friendly, and that type of stuff. So they are, but that isn't why you hire Nick Saban as your coach, and that isn't why you hire Bill Belichick. Different coaches have different personality. These guys don't have much of a personality. Very dry, very focused. They are cutthroat competitors. They're winners. They're champions, but they are singularly focused on winning, and they'll take a knife out and cut your throat to win. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. Competitive. I'm serious when I say this. I don't think Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, I don't want to say can hold a candle, but they're not as competitive as Dawn Staley or Kim Mulkey. Dawn Staley, the South Carolina coach, is as fiery and as competitive and as focused, and just the look in her eyes is as much of a competitor as any coach I've ever seen in North American sports, Dawn Staley. And Kim Mulkey is the exact same thing. These two are twins. These two have so much in common, so much alike. It's scary. And tonight, I mean, that's almost what it is. These coaches are almost bigger than their teams, almost bigger than the players. South Carolina's number 1. They're 17-0. LSU's 18-2. They're number 9. But it's really Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley, those coaches. Who's going to get their team fired up the most? Who's going to have the best game plan? Who's going to do the best in-game coaching? Who's going to make the during-game adjustments? It is really a big coaching duel and battle, because both of them have the armies, the ammunition. They've got the players. It's going to be a good one. Sold out PMAC. The vibe in Baton Rouge right now outside the PMAC has to be electric. And it's an hour and 40 minutes until they tip off. But this is LSU in Baton Rouge. Rabid fans, no pro sports in Baton Rouge. LSU is the pro sport. It's like Austin with UT, LSU is Tiger Town. Might be the number 1 example in the country of just a town based around a university that is rabid fanatics, true fans at LSU. ESPN knows. That's why they're putting the game on ESPN number 1, the main network. That's why Game Day, whatever they call it, is broadcasting live right now from Baton Rouge. Let's check that out while they're on, Joe. Why do I have it on Cox Channel 4? Oh, yeah, that's me. I forgot. Come on, remote control. Joe, it's not working. Oh, no. You sound like Lucy. Come on, Swoboda. All right. Not working for me, Joe. What do I got it manually? Don't worry about it. That damn remote control. 7 o'clock tip-off. It's going to be an insane environment. I love this. South Carolina's favored by 7.5. Kim Mulkey's like, wait, we're at home at a sold-out PMAC, nationwide television audience. We're the defending national champs, and South Carolina's favored by 7.5? That's some great blackboard material, huh? Get the team fired up. Number 1, South Carolina. Number 9, LSU. Going at it at 7 o'clock on ESPN, live from a sold-out Pete Maravich Assembly Center. A national title type matchup. This is as big as it gets. And you know what's great about this? If you remember last year, the national championship game, LSU and Iowa, outdrew Major League Baseball. Outdrew Major League Baseball. I mean, no. What did they outdraw? Was it Major League Baseball or the NBA? I forget what it was. I guess that national title game would have been early April. So no, it might have been NBA playoffs. It might have been NBA playoffs that didn't draw as big a numbers as the women's title game. I think it was almost 10 million people watching LSU and Iowa. There's going to be millions tonight watching on ESPN. This is going to be a big ratings get. If I had to guess, tomorrow it's somewhere around 5 million folks checking out, this game. Might be the biggest viewership of the week for ESPN. Anyway, that's a good one. Hey, terrible tasting Bud Light is rebounding. A buddy of mine told me, he's like, yeah, dude, Bud Light's not very good. He goes, but it's so drinkable. It's like easier to put down than water. Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, people that, want to drink beer like all day, that's what they drink. I got a buddy I play golf with. He'll knock back a 6-pack, 8 Coors Light when we're playing. No problem. And he's like dead sober at the end because it's a watered down beer and it's very drinkable. Now, if it was like a Beta Amber, he's not knocking back 24 of those in a day. He just laid out on the fairway, be unconscious. But I mean, that's like beer. Coors Light is around the rest of the world's Coors Light is just like trash. Like Bud Light would be like one of the worst beers ever brewed in the history of the world outside of America. Literally. Jum in Houston about 5 years ago. A buddy of mine from LSU lives there like last 25 years. The only reason I go to Houston, seriously. I've been to Houston like 3 times in the last 20 years, all because of this guy. Literally. Oh, anyway, I think it was his 50th birthday, and we're at some venue. And, I don't mind a Stella Artois. And EB's like, the Budweiser of Europe. Why are you ordering that? And because he's like, what would you say? World travel guy. Where's that line from? The movie? Oh, Boogie Nights, when they were doing Dirk Diggler. And they're world travel type guys like James Bond. He is a world travel guy like James Bond. He's like Dirk Diggler. He travels the world. And he knows karate. And he says it karate. Anyway, very funny. He had lived in Houston, and I remember asking him about like a steakhouse, and I mentioned a chain. He's like, dude, why do you want to go to a chain? And he set me up at like a standalone, locally owned Houston Prime Steakhouse, and it was really good. And it was better than the chain. So he's right on that. And he's very opinionated. Some people, it rubs him wrong. I love it because I'm like, the dude's like talking from experience. He lived in Europe a while. Stella Artois is the Budweiser of Europe. He's probably right. So that was I didn't order a Stella Artois. I was like, what should I get? He suggested something else. I got it and liked it. And that was the last time I've ordered a Stella Artois. And I guess the time before that somewhere was the last time I drank one. But EB just going, it's the Budweiser of Europe. That got me off Stella Artois. It's like, all right, this guy's world travel guy. He's got deep pockets. He travels all the time, lived in Europe a while. I guess Stella Artois is garbage. Not going to drink it. I believe him. Why would he say it? Anyway, Yeah, Bud Light is terrible. It is awful. But Americans love it. It was America's number one beer by far. Now Modelo is like number one, which is really surprising. I love the Modelo. You remember the Modelo commercials? They're like, that age, it's like, we're going to get a, Latino and someone that's like a hero, and we're going to base the commercial around that. And the first one was like, I think like an astronaut, like this Latina that was like a fighter pilot and an astronaut. Might have been female. And then the second one was like the dude who's the tattoo artist and the car. He paints cars and he does tattoos. And then all of a sudden it's Damian Lillard. I'm like, and then I'm like, maybe Damian Lillard's Latino and I just don't know it. Maybe he's like Puerto Rican and he's not black. I just don't know, So real quickly, Joe, Modelo threw in the towel on the Latino thing. Like, we had the astronaut and all the other great Latinos. They're not interested in doing our commercial. So we're going from the astronaut, the woman who's the fighter pilot astronaut, to the guy in East LA who does tattoos and paints cars. And now it's just a bunch of white dudes. The lion at the bar, carries the keg, keeps the bar going. You're a lion. No, he's a bartender. He's a bar back. He's not a lion. But they ran out of Latinos for the Modelo commercials. Now they just have white people or black people. Damian Lillard. I'm like, is he Latino? Come on, Modelo. That was a great theme. I think, Joe, it was either they ran out of Latinos or they're like, we don't want to just sell to the Latino market. We need to, sell to the white market. A hyper right friend of mine is just always conspiracy stuff. He hates the interracial marriage commercials. And he just thinks it's like this big woke push. And I just think that it's a financial thing. And they're like, we hit two demographics at once. We got the black woman, white man, married couple. We're hitting blacks and whites at once. I think it's the exact opposite of woke.
A lot of stuff that happens that gets blamed on wokeism is exactly that. It's marketable to be woke right now because you hit all those demographics.
No, exactly. It has nothing to do about we're Hollywood and we want to push the interracial marriage theme. I mean, that may have been like a thought, and that exists in America now. Sorry. Like in I don't want to say prolific numbers, but much larger numbers than 40, 50 years ago. And those numbers only grow every day. They only grow every day. I mean, I care who I meet. If it's some woman I fall in love with or marry, I don't care who she is, what she is. Seriously, it doesn't matter to me. Marry a black woman, Asian woman, white woman, Latina in a second. It's all beyond my control. Falling in love and wanting to get married. I told a buddy of mine, just like me, divorced, never get married again, never get married again. I'm like, dude, it's beyond your control. He's engaged, lives with her. He was just so anti-marriage. I was like, you'll be married again before I'll be married again. You're so anti-marry, you will certainly be married. It's just self-fulfilling prophecy. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480, 766-9480. Hey, speaking of terrible Bud Light, they're rebounding. They'll have a Super Bowl ad. Super Bowl 2 weeks from this Sunday. But boy, this Sunday, a couple of really good AFC, NFC title games. It's the Final Four. All these teams are division champions. They won their division. These four teams that are left are 53-20 overall. 53-20. Pretty gaudy numbers. No, it's what you want. 2:00 Sunday on CBS. 13-6 Kansas City. At 14-4 Baltimore. I was talking to my mom who's 93. She's so funny. She knows the NFL, Joe. It's amazing. Doesn't like Pat Mahomes. I said, why? And she's just like, She really couldn't put an answer on it. And then at the end was like, maybe because he's so good, I don't like him. And then she loves Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because he's so good. I'm just like, Mom, I'm like, they're similar players in a lot of ways. She says she loves Lamar Jackson and just doesn't like Pat Mahomes for some reason. It's funny. But no real, she's not like really taking any kind of a stance, but she knows the players, knows the Kelsey and, Taylor Swift. It's distraction, enough of that, all that. My mom's 93. It's amazing. Knows the Saints. I don't think Carr's that good. I don't know if is Carr any better than Andy Dalton? Like, remembers Andy Dalton? I'm like, wow, amazing. Anyway, 13-6 Kansas City at 14-4 Baltimore. I'm going to watch that with a buddy of mine. And then at 5:30, I'm going to my mommy's. 5:30 on Fox. 13-5 Detroit at 13-5 San Francisco. I'm probably pulling for Baltimore just because KC's been there so much. I mean, was this like 5th, 6th AFC title game for Pat Mahomes? It's crazy. He's a Hall of Famer right now. I don't know if an NFL player in the history of the game has made it to NFL Hall of Fame status. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer right now, Pat Mahomes. Is there any player I can even think of that's anywhere close that quickly? I mean, Mahomes is it. He is the quickest to the Hall of Fame, I think, in NFL history. He could have quit a season or two ago, and he's an NFL Hall of Famer. It's obnoxious. No, I guess I'd like to just see Baltimore just because KC's been there so much. And I'm definitely pulling for Detroit just because it's Detroit, and I love the story. I mean, you can relate to them. Blue-collar town, struggling, economy, a lot of things similar to New Orleans. Dan Campbell comes from the Saints. He's an animal. He gives great, pregame, postgame. His team is tight. They are a tight unit. No, I love the unity of that team. They are one, Detroit. It's easy to follow and like and root for Detroit. It really is. Detroit's made the playoffs like interesting for me, So no, I guess I'm pulling for a Detroit Baltimore Super Bowl. And then I'm like my mom, I like Lamar Jackson too, but I'd like a, 25-24 Detroit win, something like that. Some last second gimmick. Maybe like a Rams Titans, player gets tackled on the 1. Anyway, Kansas City at Baltimore to start, and then Detroit at San Fran. Your AFC, NFC title games, respectively, both on Sunday. Then 2 weeks, the Super Bowl from Vegas. In about 12 months and 2 weeks, Super Bowl 59 right here in New Orleans. We talked about that. I love the obvious things, the economic boost and the spotlight on the city, the free advertising, Super Bowl back in the Dome, all that good stuff, sold out hotels, bars, restaurants, having banner week, all that stuff. The crowds, the people, love it. So happy about it. But also I like that it's 13 months away, 12 and a half months away. It lights a fuse under our ass in New Orleans. Hey, we got to put our best look on, our best face. Got to clean up the city. Got to paint this, cut the grass, fix that. Put this new stuff in. Get rid of this old stuff. Get rid of these eyesores. Make the stuff that looks good look even better. So no, I like that. We're cleaning up for the Super Bowl over the next year. That's a good thing. We need a little motivation. We like 3 for $1 at the bar. Then I'll sleep here. Just putting your face down at the bar. I'll sleep here. Hey, speaking of the bar, Joe, you saw they're making a new Roadhouse movie? Yeah. Jake
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
That's my wife's favorite movie. She's going to be furious.
That's your wife's favorite movie?
She loves Roadhouse.
Well, because it's so. Does she realize it's so bad that's why it's
that's
good?
The novelty of it, but I don't know.
Because the remake's going to be so bad, it's guarantees to be bad, where you don't want to watch it. They don't need to remake it. You can't remake it. I mean, I like just the drunk dude talking to the blonde bimbo. Hey, vodka rocks. She orders a vodka rocks or something. He's like, hey, vodka rocks, how about you and me get nipple to nipple? That was the line. And I'm just thinking to myself, someone wrote that. Someone else read it and they went, yeah. And they high-fived each other and kept that in the script. Like, didn't rewrite that. I mean, I love the, hey, vodka rocks. That's a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale. That was a good opening line, calling her the drink order because the guy's so drunk. But then the nipple to nipple line, just like, there's a, I forget what university, Joe, you don't have to Google it, but there's a school that has a Roadhouse, a semester dedicated to the movie. And they just break down the movie. And it's crazy lines like that make it. And then there's just, I mean, there was like a top 10 of what they discuss. And number 10, the best one was, I mean, it was just like, where are the police? Where are the police in this town? I mean, you have to totally suspend disbelief that, look, we're going to have this Roadhouse movie. It takes place in the Midwest in America. And there's just no law enforcement in that area. There's no law enforcement. You really have to suspend disbelief on the law. You want to know when the law enforcement shows up, Joe? The 4 guys like in suits, the sheriff, like at the end when they kill the guy in the house. It's like
they're ripping people's throats out. They're just like that.
No, they're burning down the hardware store. They're driving the big jacked up truck through the Ford dealership in the middle of the day. No police. It's fine.
Yeah, my wife's trying to enjoy the movie. I'm like, where are the cops?
Right.
Where's the cops at?
Right. Exactly. Where are the police? The crowd's like cheering, like, this is a novelty thing, right? And it's like, no, they're actually they're wrecking the Ford dealership. It wasn't a promotional thing.
Also, if there was a bar that I showed up to, and every time I showed up to it, someone was getting their arms and knees broken, I think I'd stop going.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Plus, I think bouncers, Joe, in general, bouncers at bars that smoke cigarettes, they often hook up with surgeons at a hospital. It's just a normal, there's just a, hey, you went to Yale, so did I. You went to medical school, so did I. I just chose not to be a doctor, and I wanted to do this bouncing thing and fight a lot. I like getting in fights. And I'll use some philosophy. No one wins a fight. Wow. I went to Yale, and that blows me away. I have a medical degree, but that guy is something special. He gets in fights all the time. He smells like smoke and booze. He's a bouncer, but he's a philosopher. And I love him. Until he ripped the guy's throat out. I like the dude, the Roadhouse, the villain. He's actually like a 50s and 60s actor. He's from that era. He did a lot of he's like a B actor from that era, but has worked forever. And someone said, let's pull that guy out of retirement, almost like a Tarantino when he pulls these sort of B guys from the past out. So that guy made a living, as an actor, but just his whole attitude is hysterical. Just the movie is one big suspend disbelief, the whole thing. But Roadhouse it's so bad and quirky and weird that it's good. It's like a train wreck. Like you have to watch it. But the remake guarantees to be terrible. It's like the thing with the multimillionaire, the comedian who can play guitar and sing, Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, you know what he's worth, huh? Like hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's loyal to his friends, Joe. You'd love being his friend because he'd put you in movies and have you open up for stand-ups in front of him. He's ridiculously funds, friends, movies, Grandma, Boy, and all that kind of stuff, But anyway, I digress.
The new Roadhouse is either going to be so self-consciously trying to be bad that it doesn't hit the mark.
What was the Adam Sandler movie? The
serious one?
No, the football one with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, the
In
longest
Longest Yard,
Yeah.
the jail movie. You don't remake that.
No.
You just don't remake that. And then you're using the same lines even and stuff like that and the characters and everything. It's just I don't know why you'd remake The Longest Yard. I didn't watch a minute of The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. I don't watch a lot of Adam Sandler movies, period. They're just too dopey and dumb for me for whatever. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch them. I got a friend that every now and then in golf, he just runs up and does the golf run, smacks the ball while running up like Adam Sandler did in the hockey player playing golf, Happy Gilmore. But Adam Sandler he's funny and he's talented and he's smart. And he seems like a really nice guy and cares and doesn't have much of an ego. I mean, I hear he still like pops into like Brooklyn, walks into like a park and starts playing basketball. He likes pick up basketball and stuff. Seems like a nice guy. But no, I didn't want to watch The Longest Yard remake, and I'm not watching a minute of Roadhouse remake because there's nothing going to be good about it. Sam Elliott's making a surprise appearance. Sam Elliott died in the first one. Oh, boy. Hey, amigo. Hey, is your girlfriend? I'm going to pull down my pants and show you a scar that I got from a bar fight. Let me unbuckle my pants and pull my pants down. This is a scar I got in El Paso. We're going to compare scars. I'm a medical doctor. I went to medical school. This is right up my alley. Bouncers comparing scars. I love it. Wow. You did your own stitching? Pretty good work. Pain don't hurt. No. Pain does hurt. That's why it's called pain. Pain don't hurt unless you let it. No local. Just staple me. I'm a medical doctor. Pain doesn't hurt him. It's really an attractive thing for me. Wow. Roadhouse. I do watch it. Every time it comes on, Joe, I watch 10, 15 minutes, maybe longer. Sometimes I'm like, Corey, you've been watching Roadhouse for 30 minutes. Change the channel. Get up and go out of the house. Get out of the house now. But I do like it's so bad it's good. I've seen it 20, 30 times probably when you add it all up. I've seen a lot of movies 20, 30 times, Joe. I tend to watch good movies over and over and over again. I like good acting, good movies. I watched The Godfather the other day. It was on A&E. I mean, they're smart about this. They don't play this. It's not always readily available. You know, they spread it out. No, I watched probably an hour of Godfather. And then it got into a scene where I was like, I know this scene very well. I know what's next. It's sort of a downer scene. And then I move on or something. The deleted scenes of The Godfather are pretty incredible. I don't know if you've seen those, Joe. They have, I think with the epic Godfather, like 1 and 2, there's like the regular versions we know. They're like 2.5 hours each. So it's about 5 hours long. Then there's like an extended version of each, and it maybe makes it like 7. Then there's the epic where they pull all the deleted scenes from the floor, the editing floor, and it's 9 hours. And it's a bunch of, it's sort of redundancy and stuff. You can tell they don't need it. What, am I supposed to take a break, Joe? It doesn't matter. No, there's like, they're explaining things that don't need to be explained, that you already get. Like they explained it once. Or you assume that's why he did this. You don't need it explained. You know, no one's watching these are some of the greatest movies ever made. They're not going, no, you shouldn't have edited that out. I needed the help. You know, everybody knows what's going on. But there's some stuff that's pretty interesting. You remember when Michael's in Italy and he's about to leave and his Italian wife's in the car and it blows up. He's like, no, because right before that, he's asked the helper dude, I don't know what his name is, Vincenzo, where you going? And he just kind of looks at him and walks out the gate, and Michael realizes something's up, and then he tells her not to. He realizes, boy, we're leaving here because my life's threatened. This guy's running away right now that works for me. So he runs off, the car blows up, the wife dies. That's it. You don't know about that dude and any revenge or any of that. We know the guy that killed, Vito Corleone's mother and brothers, that Vito Corleone goes back and stabs him. That's the only revenge we know when he goes back to Italy. There's like 4 or 5 revenges in Italy that they edited out. The only one we see is the old man. But one of them, the pizza guy, excuse me, I'm jumping ahead. The guy that, planted the bomb in the car that ended up killing Corleone's Italian wife instead of Michael. the other family hired him to kill Michael. So the other family, to pay him, brought him to America, put him in Buffalo, New York, not in New York City, and he ran a pizza joint. So the scene that they edited out, all of a sudden it's like midnight. He's exiting the pizza joint. He locks the door. He walks in to get into his car, a station wagon in front, cranks up the ignition. The car blows up. So the pizza guy who killed Michael's wife with the car bomb, he dies from a car bomb years later when Michael finds out who he is in Buffalo. So he got revenge there. And then there's some dude Michael got revenge on. He's went out on a rowboat with him and killed him. And then that's when they all went back to America. But it wasn't just the Vito Corleone didn't just get the big fat Don guy who killed his mother and his, sons, his brothers. He got like 5 other people revenge that were all edited out. Anyway. Okay. We just got a note, Joe, that says no one cares. No one cares. Corey Johnson with you on a Thursday afternoon. This radio and television program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. And now Lamarck Crescent City Ford, the legendary Ford truck dealership in Elmwood on Jefferson Highway, over 80 years, now under the Lamarck umbrella. On TV, on radio, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. We're on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. All of it brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. And now Lamarck Crescent City Ford.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's families, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a rainy Thursday. Temps continue, though, in the 60s. It's been pretty comfortable lately. New England Patriots wide receiver, former LSU Tigers star, Kayshon Boutte, arrested for allegedly gambling on games while he was at LSU, even betting on himself. I'm going to have X amount of catches for X amount of yards, the over on that, the under, whatever, the over, actually. Improper conduct related to sports gambling. He broke the law. This is an NCAA violation. He's a pro football player. He was arrested. The NCAA says since sports gambling has kind of come online in the last few years, that there's been about 150 arrests. 150. I mean, that was inevitable. You've got tens of thousands of student athletes. Think of all the universities, thousands of universities, thousands of student athletes. Must be hundreds of thousands of collegiate students athletes in America. Hundreds of thousands. Joe, Google that for us. Number of student athletes in the United States, college student athletes in the United States of America. I'm going to guess like 400,000. It's got to be an obnoxious number. Something ridiculous. Over 520,000. That's totally believable. NCAA student athletes, totally. What did I say, 300,000 or 400,000? Yes. Think about how many schools. LSU has north of 1,000. You know what I mean? All these schools have like 1,000 student athletes, you know? So you have 500,000 student athletes. 150 arrested for gambling. That seems like a low number. I mean, that's the ones they caught. So there's a few thousand more that they haven't. If you've got 500,000 student athletes, but no, it's just gambling. And you go to the thing. It's got a bet on you. Corey Johnson, he's gonna talk for 2 hours today or not? You know, I'll take the over. Anyway, Boutte arrested. The convention center may build that 1,000+ room hotel after all, maybe. Michael Hecht will join us tomorrow from Greater New Orleans, Inc. That segment, by the way, always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. They're hiring at Latrim. East Bankers, West Bankers, you can work at their Elmwood facility. You North Shore folks, they got a job for you at their I-12 North Shore facility. For a full listing of positions available, go to their website, latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. Yeah, Michael Hecht will join us tomorrow. That segment always brought to you by Latrim. And we'll ask him about that 1,000+ room hotel. They're talking like $600 million for this hotel, like $600,000 a room. Just insane. Construction prices through the roof. Terrible tasting Bud Light is back. Terrible tasting Bud Light is rebounding. They got a Super Bowl ad about 2 weeks from this Sunday. Yep, Super Bowl 2 weeks from Sunday. That means in about a year and 2 weeks, February 9th, 2025, Super Bowl 59, right here in New Orleans at the Dome. 8th Superdome Super Bowl, 11th Super Bowl for the city. Super Bowl 59, a year and 2 weeks away, basically. February 9th, 2025. No, Bud Light is rebounding. They got a big Super Bowl ad. This Sunday, KC at Baltimore at 2, then Detroit and San Francisco at 5:30. The winners heading to Vegas and that Super Bowl. Tonight, 7 o'clock, coming up in about an hour and 5 minutes from a sold-out PMAC in Baton Rouge. Insane environment. This is as good as it gets. Number 1, South Carolina, 17-0. Number 9, LSU, 18-2. This is a national title type matchup. Ladies hoops. There's going to be 5 million folks checking this game out tonight. Enjoy it. Blue Boy says, thanks for watching and listening. See you tomorrow, Fantasy Friday, 4 o'clock.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.